The items you're going to need today is a pan so you can heat up your yogurt with, 1 cup measuring cup, spoon for stirring, thermometer, meat or candy, as long as it can read above around 200, wire whisk, good to have a spatula, some measuring spoons, pirate measuring jar, some of your glass jars that you can fill with, and lids. And 8 cups or 2 1-quart containers of half and half. Alright, to start, you take your half and half and you pour it into your pan. And you heat it up till it just comes to a boil. Again, that's 8 cups. That's what the measuring cup is for. If you don't use it, it's 8 cups. And pour that in. And you take your sweetened condensed milk and you add it to the pot. And clean it out as best as you can with the spatula. Take your wire whisk or your spoon and stir it till it's nice and creamy. And you want to heat this till it just starts to boil, and then you want to take it off the heat. And what I do is I take it and I put it in the sink, and then I fill the sink up to 3/4 of the pan with cold water, and I let it sit for a while, so that way the temperature will go back down from the boiling temperature to around 110 degrees. And then I'll add my remaining ingredients. So I'll let this come to a boil. You don't want it to boil, but you want it just to come to a boil, and then take it off the heat. Okay, now that our condensed milk and our half and half is at the boiling temperature, we want to put that into our cold water bath in the sink to cool it down to 110 degrees temperature. So I'll move that over to the sink and I'll show you how we did that. So you take that, you place it down into your sink. I already put some water in there. Till it goes to about 3/4. I'll use a cup as a thing. Your water wants to go about 3/4 of the way up your pan. So that way it cools it down. Let that sit into your water bath for approximately half an hour. At about the 15-minute mark, I usually take about maybe 10 minutes. I take the water that I have in it and I'll drain it back out, and I'll add some more cold water. That way it cools it down a lot faster, because if you just let it sit in there, the water gets warm and it doesn't cool down the pan as quick. So right now the water is just starting to get warm. It's only been in there a couple of minutes, so I'll let that go for a few minutes. But take your thermometer and you want to get that down to 110 degrees. So right now this has been sitting there for a little while. And we're right about 110 degrees. Okay, now that our pan has cooled down, take it out of your water, set it aside, and get yourself a small bowl, and you take your Greek yogurt or whatever yogurt flavor you have, plain. I measured out my cup, and I'm going to place that into the bowl. And then I'm going to take about a cup of my yogurt, water, milk mix. I apologize there, my video cut out. After you pour your liquid from the 1 cup liquid into your thing, you mix it with your yogurt so it's smooth and consistent. And you pour it back into your container. Then you mix it really well. And then you take your Pyrex jar and you pour some into it. And then you fill your jars with your mixture. I forgot to add my vanilla extract. You don't have to, but it's 1 teaspoon, not tablespoon, teaspoon of vanilla extract. You mix that in at the very end, just before you pour it into your jars. And you do that with all your jars, and then you put your lids on them. Then you incubate them for at least 8 hours. There's more than one way you can do it. You can do it in the oven. You heat up the oven to about 100 degrees and you shut it off. You turn your light on in the oven. You put all your jars on a baking pan and you cover it up with a towel. And you let it sit for 8 hours in the oven. You can put them in a yogurt maker and follow their instructions. That's also 8 hours. You can also put them in a pan like this. You just put them inside. Instead of having your liquid, it'll be water instead. That also, same method, 8 hours. Or you can put it in a cooler. Put all your jars in the cooler and you take a 50-50% mixture of cold water and hot water and you fill it up to about that high on the outside of all the jars. And you let that sit for 8 hours. Then when that's all done, stick them all, after 8 hours, stick all your jars in the refrigerator for about 3 or 4 hours, and then you can enjoy. Okay, now that we have all our liquid put into our jars and put the covers, it makes 17 total jars. Those have been asking, wondering where I got the lids. Yoplaits, the OUI website there, has the lids. And I'll put a link in the description with those. And they come in 2 different colors, blue, and it comes in like a white color or clear. And I think they're like $10 for a pack of 4. Okay, now I placed my jars in my cooler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some nice cold water and I'm going to pour that in the bottom here. So it goes up about a quarter way up the jars. And then I'm going to get some hot water and I'm going to pour that in. So it's 50-50. I'll pour that in there. And then I'll go up the other remaining half of the jars. Shop the cold water here. Then you close your lid and you let that set for 8 hours untouched, and then you can put it in your refrigerator for about 3 hours, and then it'll be ready to eat. The next day, our 8 hours were up on our cooler, and I had taken my jars out and placed them in the refrigerator, and I've taken out a couple here, and I just wanted to show you how thick and creamy they are. They're very, very thick. And that is my version of OUI French yogurt. Rich and creamy. Very thick, stays right on your spoon. Very yummy.